Hey, welcome to the Freedom Founder podcast. I'm your host, Zach Duggar. Now, you may not be familiar with the term, but vermicomposting is a process that relies on earthworms to help get you to have that rich, dark soil out of your scraps from your kitchen, your vegetable garden. My guest today, Cathy Nesbitt, knows about this process and a lot of other things that I'm excited to talk with her about. She's a health and wellness advocate. She founded a company called Cathy's Crawly Composters back in 2002. She also started Cathy's Sprouters and Cathy's Laughter Club. She's a multi-award winning environmental innovator and uses workshops and inspirational speaking to motivate people to live a more sustainable life. And she's an avid cyclist and gardener. Cathy, thank you for joining me today.
Yay, Zach. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Yoop.
Absolutely. Now, I love that you inject laughter into your daily life. And that was something that I noticed about you right away and really cued into. I'd love to just start with that as part of our conversation, as you had put on your right next to your name for this video broadcast that you're a laughter enthusiast. So talk about laughter and how that is so important in your life and the lives of others.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I'm so happy that we're starting there because we have a global mental health tsunami, and laughter is the fastest happiness hack. And it saved my worm business. It is the 21st anniversary of my worm business. And in 2012, one more person said, "Ooh, worms in the house." And I was like, how am I, like 10 years in, I was like, I could have thrown in the towel then, but I was like, I think the universe was like, "Ooh, we better throw her a line because she's going to bail."
Yeah, sure.
So the very next day I was introduced to laughter yoga. So laughter yoga started in 1995 by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria in India. And his goal is world peace. And Zach, we need this more than ever. So it's new, right? 28 years. It's kind of a baby right now as far as modalities, right?
Sure.
Sadly, can you imagine? Have you ever heard laughter's the best medicine?
Absolutely, yes, I have.
Right? I ask everybody. I haven't met anybody yet that has not. I'm still looking for them.
Yes, right.
So if
we all know it, but how do we apply it to our lives, right?
No, I disagree. We all say it. We don't know it.
Right,
If we knew
right.
it, we would
Oh,
do
okay,
it.
you're right. Okay, yes, we say it. We know the words, but we just don't know it in the application sense.
We don't,
Yes.
we
Go ahead.
don't embody it. And that's what I
Yes.
hope that more people do after this podcast episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, because it really is freeing. It's such a beautiful thing. So I was introduced to laughter yoga. It's not you doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing as an exercise, which seems random. Like there's no jokes. It's not comedy. Nothing wrong with those. Those are great. Just that you need, if it's a joke, it's usually about somebody or it's about a cultural something.
Sure.
And so not cool for them, not cool for not funny for everybody.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So laughter yoga is a series of just silly games and exercises. Clapping, you clap palm to palm to activate the meridians. And it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the words are ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Right. Fun. So it's just allowing yourself permission to play. I mean, if people are watching, they're like, "Oh, that's weird." Yes, weird. But imagine if you could just laugh for a few minutes every day and feel good, because when we're laughing, it is totally the best medicine. We're secreting the love drugs. We're in charge of our own pharma. So why is it the best medicine? Because we're in charge of our own pharma. When we're laughing, we're secreting dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Versus cortisol and adrenaline when we're stressed.
Right.
And stress is, so I've been laughing since 2012. I've really been laughing since 2020.
Okay.
Right. We got everything, whole big global thing going on, all closed. We don't know what's happening.
Yes.
We're fed some stuff we don't know. Right. Like all around, all different stories. Social media was full of whatever you wanted to know.
Yes. Yes. from all angles.
Scary, and families, right? Divisive. Anyway, so laughter
Yeah.
yoga, wow. I believe it was started in 1995.
Okay.
Dr. Kateria's goal is world peace. There are 120 countries laughing
Oh,
with
wow.
laughter
Okay.
clubs, right?
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So
Yeah.
beautiful, because North America's a late adopter. Yoga's kind of just becoming mainstream,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's old, like that's centuries old. Laughter
Yeah.
yoga's new. So it's kind of
Yep.
in the ocean. I think it's just arriving.
Okay.
Time
Right.
to get it, time to get in, everybody.
Yes.
It's
Get on
new.
board. Right.
So when we're laughing, we're oxygenating our beautiful body. Oh,
Uh-huh.
so I believe it was started in 1995
Yeah.
for this cuckoo time.
Okay.
So in 2020, before 2020, there was very few opportunities to do laughter yoga online.
Okay.
But like every industry popped online, we had to,
Right.
right? So here we
Absolutely.
are. Luckily, we had the technology in place for
Hmm.
us to do what we're doing even today. We never,
Right.
we might not have ever met, Zach.
Right.
It
That
would have
is
been longer.
true. Right. That is very true.
Yeah, and
And
really random.
yes, right. Now, you mentioned that when you had found laughter yoga or were introduced to it in 2012, that it helped you to save. I don't know if you stated to save your Crawly composter business, or how you described that. But as you mentioned the business with worms, can you talk a little bit about that? And we'll come back to the laughter, but I'm just kind of curious to know a little bit how you got started with worms and help people understand that value of composting, and how worms fit in with that, and how that business even works.
Right? So many questions.
Right.
Thank you, Zach. So I'm
Yeah.
located in north of Toronto in
Yeah.
Canada. And in 2002, the landfill for the Toronto area closed. You
Okay.
know, Toronto's the biggest city in Canada. So 6 million
Yep.
people, half live in condos, townhouses,
Hmm.
without space to do outdoor composting.
Right.
And we now have the landfill closed, and we started to, although Canada's second largest country in the world, we couldn't we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill.
Okay.
And
Yep.
I kind of make light of it, but because I would be crying in the corner if I didn't. It's really heavy. It's
Sure.
big.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
started to export our garbage to the United States. I'm sorry.
Oh, well,
Haha, sorry again,
the
right?
receiving end. Right.
Right? I know, Michigan. So,
Yes.
what did I say? A 200 trucks, almost 200 garbage trucks every day, Monday to
Okay.
Friday. We're
Yep.
making the trip. So 1,000 a week, 4,000 a month. I know you
Wow.
can do math, right? A lot of
Right.
trucks.
Yeah.
Wow. Like think about the wear and tear on the highway, the
Hmm.
get greenhouse gases. And then Michigan, as you know, is the Great Lakes state.
Yeah.
That means water. Garbage
Right.
turns, right? It seeps. It turns into
Hmm.
liquid eventually. And
Sure.
then
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of liner they say they have on the landfill.
Hmm.
It's not enough to keep in the liquids forever.
Sure. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So we're getting heavy, and I have a beautiful positive solution.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. I was like, oh, I have a solution for the people that live in apartments. And I
Yeah.
quickly realized that the worms are the original alchemists, or
Uh-huh.
maybe not the original ones, but they are one of the they're alchemists.
Yes.
They take what we call garbage, food
Hmm.
scraps, and paper, and turn it, their poop is black gold. So we can
Right.
grow more nutrient rich food. Like we've
Yeah.
wrecked right. We do all this monocropping,
Yep.
corn, wheat, soy. I know. I'm not saying anything new. I'm
Yep.
not telling any secrets. It's visible everywhere, acres and acres.
Absolutely.
Right. So we put a lot of chemicals because nature didn't intend it that way. And the corn and all
Sure.
that stuff grows because the chemical engineers are good. Like they're good at their job.
Hmm. Yep.
Right. That's what they're, it's a beautiful business. Is it great for the soil? No, it is not, because
Sure.
we need biodiversity. That's we
Right.
do.
Yep.
And so this is returning the nutrients naturally without chemicals back. So it's
Okay.
like an infinity. And I really want to encourage everybody to get worms
Uh-huh.
and have so it's in a bin, safe for the do-it-yourselfers. You don't have to spend a lot of money.
Mhm.
a Rubbermaid container or some bin you have around the house.
Yeah.
You don't even need a solid lid, an old piece of carpet or a piece of cardboard
Uh-huh.
on the top. That's it. Your
Okay.
bedding is shredded paper, a bit of soil, water, eggshells, and that you do need a special worm, red
Uh-huh.
wigglers or European night crawlers.
Okay.
And then they eat your food scraps. So then you put your, and I would say your prep stuff rather than your plate scrapings,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Your peels at
Yep.
the beginning,
Yep. Yep.
because you don't want to put salt and ketchup and,
Right.
your condiments. You don't want that
Right.
in there.
Yeah. So how did you and how do you continue to make a business around that idea of using worms and composting and helping to provide an opportunity or solution for those living in these environments where they can't have a compost pile in their backyard?
Thank you. Thankfully, my parents called me Cathy, and so I'm Chatty Cathy.
Uh-huh.
I actually had a Chatty Cathy doll as a child. She was
Okay.
my mentor.
There
That's a
you
true
go.
story.
Right.
um, yeah, and so I have no fear of public speaking, and
Uh-huh.
so, and I think that's why I was put on earth to talk about this, to
Yeah.
be the talking worm, and so I
Hmm.
do school workshops. I get paid for that. I go
Okay.
into, so I get paid for speaking.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. And then do you also help people to access worms if they're like, I don't even know where I'd get worms? How do I, unless I dig them up? So how do I get them?
Absolutely, yes. I hook them up with
Okay.
worm suppliers because in the
Oh, cool.
States, I mean, I
Yeah.
have worms. I have European night
Yeah.
crawlers at the moment in
Okay.
Canada,
Yep.
and really local. I would really encourage people to search
Yeah.
locally,
Okay.
and ask friends, like ask people that garden, and ask just
Yeah.
I've posted on Facebook and stuff because,
Okay.
um, yeah, people have worms.
Yeah. So you're able to provide that a local resource to people in the area, but also help
Yes.
people find other suppliers or suggestions on how to find people locally to can help them to gain access to worms that they could use for this purpose.
Absolutely. That,
Okay.
my whole thing is for people just to live more sustainably,
Yeah.
right? Imagine, like, because when we compost, either with
Yep.
worms or without, whatever you're doing, bokashi, whatever method you're using,
Yep.
feeding the raccoons, no, probably don't do that. The neighbors won't like
Right.
it. That takes the stink out of the garbage because that's the
Yeah.
stuff that rots. That's the living matter that
Hmm.
decays and turns into methane,
Yeah.
attracts rodent, right? That's the problem stuff. So when we can manage that,
Hmm.
then yeah, it just takes a kind of a load off our
Yeah.
life and off the
Okay.
system. We're not
Right.
hauling around all the stinky stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that I think of when they're looking for worms, they're looking for them for fishing. So they're not really thinking about what they're going to use them for or that they could use them for this purpose that you're describing. I think that it is an area where there's probably still a lot more education that needs to occur. Or-
Yeah, 20 years in, I thought it would be a household word by now.
yeah.
I thought I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere.
Right, right. Yeah. Well,
Hardly.
perhaps not yet. Now, where are you finding that you said you mentioned going into schools and providing education and doing workshops? Are where is that commonly then where you are doing the majority of your speaking is in school settings?
It was with the
Okay.
worms, and
Yeah.
now I'm being contracted. I seem to
Okay.
have a second mission, like
Yeah.
back to laughter.
Yep.
During this global thing that we have, I really want people to care about the
Yeah.
planet. I do.
Yep.
But if you're in a mental crisis, you can't. You
Hmm.
can only you have trouble every day, struggling.
Right.
And so my goal is to help people raise them up, because when we're laughing,
Yeah.
it's high vibration. We're totally present.
Hmm.
We're not thinking about anything. And prior to Dr. Kateria, there's been a lot of forefounders to laughter
Okay.
that came up with the expression "laughter's the best
Yep.
medicine." It's way older than 28 years.
Yep.
Um, Norman Cousins, he was diagnosed with something, and he was like, "Nope, I'm not ready."
Hmm. Uh-huh.
And he started to laugh, and he was locked himself in a hotel and started to watch Laurel and Hardy and just like
Yep.
slapstick comedy. And
Yep.
he wrote a book, The Anatomy of an Illness, and said
Okay.
that 10 to 15 minutes of I think he called it mirthful laughter, like belly laughter,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Okay.
gave him 2 hours of pain-free sleep.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, that's huge
Right.
if you're in pain.
Absolutely.
If you're in chronic
Yeah.
pain,
Yeah.
it's a gift because we're flooded, and you can do it sitting, lying, you can do it any way.
Yeah.
So, and we have it like the longer or the more I learn about this magic medicine, the
Mm-hmm.
more I realize I am needed right now to share this message because I
Yeah.
love it. I don't have the fear.
Right.
And I've learned tips and tricks along the way. So laughter goes with everything in my mind.
Yeah.
And so I incorporate tapping, emotional freedom technique. It's tapping on the
Mm-hmm.
meridians, like acupuncture
Okay.
without needles.
Yep.
So
Yep.
beautiful. Brain gym to connect the lobes, to kind of exercise our beautiful brain, like our
Okay.
machine, answering
Mm-hmm.
machine.
Yep.
Qigong, this 5,000-year-old that predates Tai Chi. It's just beautiful energy. It's all about moving the energy so that we can be. So what I've discovered or learned, I didn't discover it, someone
Mm-hmm.
else did and shared it. I learned
Right.
about it. Actually, we do need to be careful about our phraseology. Like I
Sure.
didn't create it.
Right.
That's true.
Yep.
Anyway, so
Yep.
I learned recently that we have a heart to pump our blood. We have another fluid called lymphatic fluid that
Mm-hmm.
only moves when we move. And we have 3 times the amount of lymph as blood.
Okay.
That blew my mind because I was like, I don't hear anyone doing lymph tests.
Right.
Wow. And it doesn't have a pump, so it only moves when we move. Like we used to move a lot more, and now we don't.
Sure.
So even
Right.
the practice
Yeah.
of laughter, a good belly laugh or breathe, deep breathing
Right.
moves our lymph.
Intentional movement of your body in ways that you may not normally be doing. Yeah.
Right?
I
It's
like
it's the
what you
awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna say that I like how you described that change or transition into this focus, because there is such a need for that focus on mental health and helping people get through those crises, because without their own mental stability, they're not going to be focused on anything environmental. They're just trying to get through their day to day. So their environment around them is starting to become more chaotic. So their ability to implement something new like composting, definitely not something on their radar. So this is such a valuable area, such a need at this point.
And it's no cost. It's something once
Yeah.
we learn. I mean, it is a practice, it is a
Yep.
medicine. You don't take one dose, you
Hmm.
take your daily dose. So you laugh every
Okay.
day with intention. So now with
Yeah.
of course with the internet, it's a
Yeah.
global movement. You can laugh 24/7 for free
Uh-huh.
in laughter clubs.
Okay. Yeah.
Around the world. You don't need to understand what they're saying because eventually they'll
Yeah.
be clapping or dancing or,
Right.
laughing.
Just what? Yeah.
Right, there's little games like, and now with the
Yeah.
Zoom, you're in gallery view, and so you're just playing with your camera. "Hello, everybody," and you're looking around.
Yeah.
It's like Hollywood Squares, right? It's so
Yep.
it's really magic. It's really a beautiful thing.
So if someone wanted to get involved with more laughter in their lives and to be able to learn this daily practice, what would they do to find out more information? Where would they go? How would they learn?
Oh, well, come to my laughter club. It's
Okay.
cathysclub.com, Cathy with a
Okay.
C. And I have a
Yeah.
free club on Tuesday mornings, every
Okay.
Tuesday at 9:30 on Zoom, 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
I incorporate all of those things. Like it's pretty much the same thing
Okay.
every week, but
Okay.
but you get to
Yep.
practice those things, which then puts them in your memory to remind you to do them every day.
Okay. All right. So cathysclub.com. There's a free laughter club Tuesday mornings, you said. Okay.
Yes.
What time is that?
9:30 a.m. Eastern.
9:30 Eastern. Okay. All right. Now, if somebody isn't able to connect on Tuesday mornings, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, how would they alternatively find out more about this type of information or gain access to someone that can help support them through this learning to laugh and to making this a daily practice?
Yeah, I do. I am a laughter yoga teacher too. So I
Okay.
do have a 2-day train. It's a 2-day
Awesome.
training.
Okay.
And I've partnered with a beautiful master trainer from Montreal, Sylvie
Okay.
Dagenou-Duville. If she's watching, hello, Sylvie.
Hello,
um,
Sylvie.
we have a training coming up April 25th and 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, again, everything's on my website, Sylvie's
Okay.
website as well.
Okay.
Or you can just Google laughter yoga in your area if you were looking
Okay.
for in person, because now
Yeah.
we're
Yep.
coming back in person.
Right.
Because, like, frankly, if you can do it in person, if you have the opportunity to learn this magic medicine in person, do that, because
Yep.
it's so beautiful. And I do offer trainings in person as well. Those will be on
Okay.
my website.
Okay.
Yeah. You know,
All right.
if I could just end with why people would learn learn to be a laughter yoga leader.
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to lead laughter, like at your work or in your home or wherever you are.
Yep.
But it's really for us, because once
Sure.
we know something, then we become something, then we are it. And
Yeah.
then we float around. It's just pure energy. So then when we're high vibration floating around,
Yeah.
we affect everything, because it's all energy.
Right. Right. So if you've learned it to that extent that you're able to facilitate, you are really making a difference in your own life as well as those around you.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
magic.
absolutely. Now, I do like to ask all of my guests a question. If you were to be handed $1 million with no strings attached, how would you use that and why? And why?
I would, I have a dream that I will be creating a center or a foundation
Hmm.
for
Okay.
folks with Down syndrome that I'm actually want to change
Okay.
into to be called up syndrome, because it doesn't make sense that
Hmm.
it's called Down syndrome.
Sure.
That just came to my awareness.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so and teaching them to be laughter yoga leaders, so they can lead laughter for their demographics. If
Yeah.
anybody is familiar with up syndrome, you know that for the most part they're happy-go-lucky people. I'm
Hmm.
generalizing because everybody's an individual. I'm
Sure.
not saying
Yep.
anyone's like
Yep.
anything.
Right.
Um, and I just had a vision of that, and I've been in touch with Dr. Kateri asking if anyone in the world is doing it.
Okay.
No one is. If anyone watching is interested in helping me create this,
Yeah.
I would love it. Yeah, $1 million
Yeah.
would help, because
Absolutely.
I could focus my
Definitely.
energy to do that. And it
I
would
love.
be the coolest thing, like, so they could be paid. I don't know how it is in the
Hmm.
US.
Yeah.
In Canada, when young folks with special needs, I think it's 21, when they
Hmm.
turn age 21, they're out of the public school system,
Okay.
and they
Hmm.
get put on a disability pension called, well, wherever they are.
Hmm.
And it's not enough to live on.
Sure.
But if they
Yep.
work, the money's clawed back off that meager
Yes.
money.
Right.
So
Yep.
it's a bad little loophole that it's
Yeah.
not about money. It's really not about money.
Right. Right.
um,
Yep.
yeah. So I just think that that's what I saw, and that's what when that
Okay.
question was posed, I was like, I
Yeah.
think I would like to put that out to the ether.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I like that consideration of the word up syndrome. Yeah, generalization. A lot of individuals that I've gotten to know with Down syndrome are happy in individuals and have a positive aspect in their life. And so I love that answer, Cathy. Thank you for sharing that. And if there is anyone listening that has that similar heart for this type of a foundation, please do reach out to Cathy. If anybody does want to reach out to you, Cathy, what's the best way for someone to connect with you?
Probably, yeah, probably again, just through my laughter
Okay.
page, my
Yep.
contacts at the
Yep.
bottom there, and
Okay.
that would be perfect.
All
Yeah.
right. So if
Thank
anyone
you.
does want to reach out to Cathy, cathysclub.com, find out more information about the work she's doing in the area of laughter. I'm sure she'd be glad to answer questions in regards to the ecosystem and worms and composting, and also this concept that she's described today. So thank you, Cathy, for your time today. I really appreciated this conversation.
Thank you, Zach. Me too. April is Earth Month, so it's perfect timing.
Absolutely. Yes. And if you're listening to this after April, don't just make April the only month of the year that you are earth conscious, but may it be an impression upon you during this month, especially to make some new practices that you'll follow throughout the rest of the year as well.
Composting will set us free.
Absolutely. Thank you.